Hello friends, welcome to Web Navigation Bars video tutorials series. As we know that creating appealing navigation bars is one of the most important part in web designing. In this video tutorial series, we create variety of appealing navigation bars which you can use in your websites. To understand the videos in this video tutorial series, you need to have good understanding of HTML and CSS. If you don't have any idea of HTML and CSS, I suggest you people to watch my HTML video tutorial series and CSS video tutorial series. There, I have explained almost every concept of HTML and CSS in detail and in depth. In this video tutorial, we are going to create our first navigation bar. So let's get started. I go to start, say here notepad. I click on the notepad. You can see that the notepad got open. In this, I am going to write the basic HTML document structure code. I write here less than, exclamation mark, doc type HTML. Here I say opening HTML tag, closing HTML tag. We know that every HTML document begin with the opening HTML tag, end with the closing HTML tag. HTML tag has one attribute called as lang. To that we give a value en. Lang equal to en attribute indicates the language of this HTML document is English. We know that every HTML document is divided into two sections. One is the head section, another one is a body section. So here I write opening head tag and closing head tag, which indicates the head section. Here I write opening body tag, closing body tag, which indicates the body section. In the head section, I say meta char set equal to UTF-8 close. This line indicates the character set of this document is UTF-8, that is Unicode Transformation Format Text 8. I save this file. File, save as, save the file at desktop with the name default.html. Both sides I put double quotations, click on the save button. I minimize the notepad. You can see that default.html is created. I right click on it, say open with the Google Chrome. You can see that default.html is open in the Chrome. Title is set to default.html. I change the title by going to head section. Here I say opening title tag. I say here first navigation bar, closing title. File, save, go to browser and refresh. You can see that title is set to first navigation bar. In the body section, I create one div, opening div, closing div. This div is going to work like a wrapper around our unordered list or a navigation bar. I give an ID to it as nav so that I can uniquely identify this in CSS. In this div, I am going to create one unordered list, opening UL, closing UL. Most of the time, we create navigation bars by using unordered lists. To this unordered list, I am going to add one list item with the content Manjunath Chidre, my name, closing li. I say here file, save, go to browser and refresh. You can see that unordered list got displayed with a one list item Manjunath Chidre, and it has a bullet also displayed there. You can see I add one more list item to this unordered list. So here I say opening li. This is going to be an hyperlink, friend. So here I say home, closing li. I say file, save, go to browser and refresh. Home text got displayed, but it is not looking like a hyperlink. So I translate it to hyperlink by using the anchor tag. Opening a tag, closing a tag, and anchor tag has one of the attribute called as href, hyperlink reference. There we have to give to which page the browser has to navigate when we click on the home link, right? Here I say hash, don't go anywhere, be in the same page, right? Hash indicates be in the same page. File, save, go to browser and refresh. You can see that home text is now hypertext or hyperlink. Next, I add one more list item, copy that, paste down. Here I say qualification, file, save, go to browser and refresh. Qualification also added. I copy this, and paste down. This is going to be hobbies. File, save, go to browser and refresh. Hobbies also added. Copy that and paste down. This is going to be contact me link. File, save, go to browser and refresh. Now I apply stylings so that we can start creating the navigation bar. I go to head section. I write here opening style tag, closing style tag. We use the style tag to embed CSS. It has one attribute called as type. To that we give a value text or CSS. Type text or CSS indicates whatever we write in between this opening and closing style is going to be a CSS code. I tell to the browser, locate a body element in this page, apply the border of 1px solid red semicolon. File, save, go to browser and refresh. You can see that to the body the browser has applied the red border. Next I tell to the browser, locate any div in this page if it has an ID of nav and if it has a direct child called as unordered list. You can see this div has an ID nav and it has a direct child UL. To that you have to apply the border of 1px solid blue semicolon. File, save, go to browser and refresh. You can see that the unordered list also has the blue border. If you carefully observe, the body element has the margin here. On the left hand side there is a 8 pixel margin, on top 8 pixel, on the right hand side 8 pixel margin is there. To remove that margin we use the CSS property margin. In the body style I say here margin of 0 pixel semicolon. File, save, go to browser and refresh. You can see that margin around the body element is removed. Also you can observe above the unordered list and below the unordered list there is a margin, friends. Top margin and bottom margin is there. We can remove that margin by using the CSS margin property. So here I say margin of 0 pixel semicolon. File, save, go to browser and refresh. You can see that margin is removed. Now what I tell to the browser is remove the borders. We don't need these borders from the body. I remove the border of the body. File, save, go to browser and refresh. You can see that the border around the body is removed now. We have the blue border around the unordered list. It is stick to the wall of the browser. That's good. Now I tell to the browser that list style type should be none. File, save, go to browser and refresh. You can see that the bullets are removed. That's what the list style type none does. And you can observe there is a padding for the unordered list. There is a lot of space between the content and the border on the left hand side, right? Left padding is there. We can remove that padding also by using the CSS padding property. So I say here padding of 0 pixel semicolon. File, save, go to browser and refresh. You can see that the padding is removed. Now I am going to remove this border. What I do, I remove this CSS property. File, save, go to browser and refresh. The border is removed. Next thing, I apply the background color. I say here background dash color light gray semicolon. File, save. To the unordered list it applies the background color light gray. I go to browser, say refresh. You can see that light gray background color is applied to the unordered list. Next thing what I do, I tell to the browser locate any div which has an ID of a nav if it has a direct child unordered list. If it has any direct child called li item, then you have to float that to left side. We know that what the float property does. Float property is going to take out all the items which are having the li from the unordered list, right? It is going to take out, it is going to float all those elements to the left of the browser, and it puts all the list items one beside another, converts all the list items from block level to inline level elements, right? As there is no content in the unordered list, we don't have any height for the unordered list. So unordered list is not going to display this color also, the background color also is not going to be visible. Let me show that. I say here Control Z. If I say file, save, go to browser, once I refresh, you observe all these list items are going to be placed one beside another, and you don't see this background color light gray. If I refresh, you can see that all the list items are one beside another and the background color is not at all visible there. The reason is all the elements are floated up. When we write float left, all the list items are floated up. So there is nothing in the unordered list. As there is nothing in the unordered list, it is not going to have any height. So you don't see anything there. We can see that background color back by using the height property. If you use here height property, for example, to the unordered list, I say here height of 50px semicolon, file, save, go to browser and refresh. As you have added the height, now you can see the unordered list. If you remove this height, you don't find background color. The reason is there is no item in the unordered list at all. File, save, go to browser and refresh. There is no item at all present in the unordered list. So what you can do is you can add one item in the unordered list, okay, to get that background color back. So what you need to do is to add an item. I just tell to the browser, locate a div if it has an ID of a nav, if it has a direct child unordered list. After the content of the unordered list, you have to create or generate this content. So there is a property in CSS called as content, which is used to generate content dynamically at runtime. If you don't know about the content property, please visit my CSS video tutorials. There I have explained each and every CSS property in detail. Okay, so here I am adding a content, one simple space we are generating, and it should be having display set to block level block. We know that the block level elements are going to take the entire width, okay, and also it should clear the floating effect, that is left floating effect. What actually this code does means it generates a space after these list items. Here after the list items you find one space, and it is going to clear the float effect on itself, and it will be block level, same like a li. It is going to be having the entire width, but li's are now inline. As we have floated, they are converted to inline. This double quotation is going to have a block level. Now what happens, you see, file, save, go to browser and refresh. You can see that we got that background color back because there is one small element added. I just show you here. I go to Chrome settings here, options button, more tools, go to developer tools, and you can see if I click on this div open, if I open the unordered list, you can see here : after. So here you have that space content added. There is a space content added. This is a space content, friends. Here you have the space content, which is a block level, and it is clearing the left float effect that is happening on this double quotations or a space there. Okay, I close this. I hope you guys have clearly understood. Next thing is I tell to the browser, locate any div if it has an ID of a nav, if it has a direct child unordered list, if it has the direct child li, if it has the direct child anchor element. Of course, here we have a div element with an ID nav. If it has a direct child unordered list, it has direct child li's. Of course, every li has direct child anchor element except the first one. We are going to apply some styles to them. First thing, I set text dash decoration to none. What it does means it removes the underline. File, save, go to browser. When I say refresh, you don't find this underline, right? The underline is removed from every hyperlink. Next, I say the background color should be black and the foreground color should be white, semicolon. File, save, go to browser and refresh. You can see that every anchor element has the background color black, the foreground color is white. If I try to add a height for the anchor element, maybe I say 50 pixels, file, save, go to browser. If I refresh, you don't find any height applied to the anchor elements. If I say refresh, you can see that height is not getting applied because width and height properties are not going to get applied to inline level elements. Here anchor element is an inline level element. On the inline level elements, width and height properties don't work. So I change the display property from inline to inline block. When I say inline block, the anchor element is going to be converted from inline to inline block. Inline block can have the effect of width and height. This time if I say file, save, go to browser and refresh, you can see that the height is applied. I hope you guys have clearly understood how the display property is useful. Next thing, I set the width also. So here I say width of 100 pixels semicolon, file, save, go to browser and refresh. The width is applied, right? Next thing is I am going to align the text center, text dash align center semicolon. Text align property aligns the content horizontally. File, save, go to browser and refresh. You can see that they are aligned center in their box. Next I align vertically also. To align vertically, we use line height CSS property, L-I-N-E-H-E-I-G-H-T. Line height should be the height of the element. So here I give 50 px semicolon. File, save, go to browser and refresh. Now vertically also the text is aligned. Now the text is exactly in the middle of the element, friends. Next thing, I say the font, I apply some font. So here I say font family, I use Tahoma font semicolon. File, save, go to browser and refresh. You can see that the font is changed. Next thing, I apply some style on the hover effect. I give some hover effect here. So what I do, I copy this code, paste here down, colon hover. I add colon hover pseudo class. It's a pseudo class. And I tell to the browser, when I hover the mouse on the anchor element, it should change its background color. Background dash color should be light gray and the text color should be black semicolon. File, save, go to browser and refresh. When I hover the mouse over, observe that, right? The background color and the foreground color is changing. So that's the hover effect, friends. Also what I do, I apply some styling to this text, the name Manjunath Chidre. So what I do here, I tell to the browser, locate any div which has an ID of a nav. If it has a direct child UL, if it has a direct child LI, which is the first child, FIRST, first child, it should be first child, or any LI which is a first child in its UL. Here this LI is the first child of the unordered list, right? So to that I am applying the style here. I am using the pseudo class first child. Here I say the height, first thing I set the background color, background dash color to black semicolon, and I say the foreground color should be white semicolon. File, save, go to browser and refresh. You can see that the background color is black, foreground color is white. I increase the height. So I say here HEIGST height to 50 pixels. That is the height of every anchor element. File, save, go to browser and refresh. The height is increased. Now I vertically align it. So which property we use to align vertically? We use line height property. We set the 50 pixels. That is actually the height of the LI. File, save, go to browser and refresh. You can see that the vertically also we align the content. Now it looks a nice navigation bar, right? Next thing what I do is I remove the background color light gray of the unordered list to, I set it to black color. File, save, go to browser and refresh. That's how it looks now. Next thing, I set the font also. So I go to the LI first child. It should have the font family set. The font family I am going to use is In single quotations I write monotype cursiva, single quotation semicolon. If you have more than one words in a font, you should enclose that in single quotations. If you have only single word in a font, then you need not to enclose that in single quotations. It is not necessary here. Okay, hope you guys are understanding whatever I am explaining here. File, save, go to browser and refresh. That's how it looks, friends. We can set some font size also by using font dash size of maybe 18 points is good. File, save, go to browser and refresh. 18 points is more. Let me give here 16 points. File, save, go to browser and refresh. Okay, that looks good. Here I am going to give some right margin. I want to apply some right margin so that I get a space there. So I say here margin margin right of 10 px semicolon. File, save, go to browser and refresh. So the right margin is added. Now the text is not getting cut. You can see that hover effect is working. That's how you can create navigation bar, friends. I have actually zoomed to 200%. If I reduce it to smaller size, it still looks nice and cool. Hope you guys have understood how we create a navigation bar. This is our first navigation bar. In the next video tutorial, we create some other navigation bar with some more creative look. So for this video tutorial, this much is enough, friends. You can try experimenting, try creating this navigation bar yourself, and see you in the next tutorial. Thank you guys. Thank you very much. For more benefits and be up to date, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and don't forget to like, comment and share these videos with others so that everyone will get benefited. Keep learning, keep coding, keep sharing. Thank you guys. Thank you very much. See you in the next tutorial.